lots more people to do that. But tell me something, you were into modeling and
Hmm.
then, now into movies, but you come from a fairly sheltered, upbringing. So how,
Yeah.
and these are not conventional professions that you look at when you talk of sheltered upbringing. How
Hmm.
did
Yeah,
you
for sure.
manage to make the jump and convince the family?
I think my parents and I, like my entire family, we were all pretty apprehensive when, I first started. My agents, I was like 15 years old and I put up this like selfie on Instagram, and that's how I got scouted. And we were all pretty apprehensive because I always wanted to be a doctor. And like it started like I started doing like working part-time, and I would fly up and down from Bombay to Nagaland or Shillong where I was studying at the time. And yeah, I mean, slowly, because things were going well, and I would see my work on magazines or, wherever, campaigns and posters and stuff. So, I mean, I feel like that gave me the encouragement to, work harder towards this field and like maybe consider it as a career option. So, yeah, I mean, this was also a very gradual I mean, it worked out well for me. So I've been very fortunate in this sense as well. So yeah, I mean, that's how my parents and I were all like, after I graduated high school, we just considered, doing this full time. And, that's how after like a few months after I moved to Bombay to pursue it full time, I was offered the role. So yeah, that's how it worked out. That's how
So
I'm here today.
did modeling in a way help you get that step in, also give you the kind of exposure
Hmm.
into mainland
Hmm.
Bombay, into a completely different life? Did it help
For
you?
sure.
It did, right?
Yeah, because I can't imagine like stepping into Bollywood immediately as, someone
Yeah.
like because having no exposure at all, like even with modeling, I had like zero exposure when I was 15. But working in the modeling industry, it gave me a sense of like knowledge towards like how important makeup artists is in on set, or like costume design, or how sometimes how tiring it can be to be working like 3 hours continuously in the sun. So I think it just gave me like I knew what I was getting into a little bit, at least working on set and everything before I, jumped into like the acting industry. And modeling gave me that work experience. And of course, owing to my career, I've been able to travel to a lot of places in India. I've met a lot of people, so I've been like pretty exposed, more so than I would have gotten in like an enclosed academic environment, I think, which is still like I still respect that, but I think it just gave me a learning experience, like a different kind of learning experience. So yeah, I mean, that's just the experience that I got from modeling. I could kind of implement that in acting as well. So, and also like being more comfortable in front of the camera, I think that also helped a lot.
Of course, of course. So, some would say you've been fortunate in your steps,
Hmm.
in your journey, but for generally the people of the Northeast trying to make
Hmm.
their way in, is that struggle for their space still as hard as
Hmm.
it used to be?
Hmm. I think because I have been in the modeling industry for the past like 4 or 5 years, I can say that, the horizon for diversity has definitely broadened up a lot. But as for the acting industry, like I don't know if I'm like qualified enough to answer this question because I haven't been here long
Fair
enough,
enough.
but I know that yeah, opportunities they don't come too often, like at the end of the day, the power lies in the hands of, the decision
Yeah.
makers. And if there aren't enough roles written for actors from the Northeast, I mean, I think it's like no fault of the actors, there's just not enough opportunities for people to be able to have their talents, like exhibited. And that's just something that I think needs to be worked on. It's I think it's getting better like in the past few years, but I think we still have a long way to go when it
Yeah,
comes
but
to representation.
do you feel cheated? You're talking about roles
Mm-hmm.
for,
Mm-hmm.
more roles for the region, but do you feel cheated when, stuff like, say, a Americom movie happens and then
Mm-hmm.
it is not somebody from the region who gets the role, but a
Mm-hmm.
Priyanka Chopra gets the role?
Yeah. Definitely, I think representation is so important, especially for people like us, from minor communities. The correct representation is very important, and I definitely feel like that role should have been given to someone from the region. I understand the commercial aspect behind it, and I understand, like the reasons that they gave out, like, the reasons that I gave out to doing that. But I definitely think that someone should have, I mean, but if they made like a American movie now, I doubt they'll be able to, cast someone from, Bollywood to be able to portray someone from the Northeast, because I think times have changed since then as well. But like I said, yeah, I think we still have a long way to go. Hopefully things improve. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't
Around
get
you,
you.
your friends. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
What are the challenges, that friends,
hmm
relatives, other people, face when they're in big cities across the country?
hmm Uh, I like name calling and everything. That's just like a very, that's a reality that we face when we move from our hometowns to the big cities. At least something that I've experienced myself. But I feel like even when it comes to racism, there are like very varying degrees. I myself have been fortunate enough to not have faced it, that badly, but I know that there are people from where I'm from that have even faced like physical assault in the cities, just solely based on the fact that we are where we come from and we are the way we look. Um, and you just like there are like negative connotations attached to, like the slurs that they use against us. And also you just have like a misconception, when you come to the city, people have a misconception of towards people uh that look the way we do. So I mean, like that's why films like Anek are important, because I feel like it raises awareness, like people like they don't even know sometimes where, like a place called Kohima like
Yeah, of course.
exists in Nagaland. They didn't know, yeah. So I think it's really important to kind of self kind of educate, and kind of not be too like ignorant about these things.
Has there been
Yeah.
any incident that you faced that
hmm
has really discouraged you?
hmm I there isn't like any particular incident that I can recollect, but I think over these past few years, working in the industry, in the modeling industry, I think there have been times when I have faced difficult situations because I have been too self-critical or too overly critical about the situations that I myself like put myself through. And I think it's just really important to kind of bring yourself down to earth and kind of enjoy being present and being in the moment. And that's something that I really struggle with because I am like a hardcore overthinker. But yeah, I mean, besides that, um, I think just like any other career, there are ups and downs, with my modeling career also, sometimes you meet people on set that just kind of manage to ruin your day. And then there are other days when, you meet like the most beautiful, wonderful people on set. It's just, I think you just need to kind of take it in your stride, it's a part and parcel of the career. So yeah.
How did you train? What was your training schedule like to, you played a boxer?
Yeah. I got casted in 2019. So immediately after I got casted, I had to work on the boxing and like the acting. But unfortunately, I think a few months after like the lockdown and the pandemic started, so I had to put a stop to that. And then after that, I think towards the end of 2020, I resumed my training and I had to take like a lot of like action training and stuff. I also learned how to ride a bike. So I used to be like
Good for
riding
you.
around Andheri. Yeah, I used
Yeah.
to be riding on Andheri with my bike teacher. But yeah, I mean, and also I think I
That's the one thing
had
I regret not having learned how to ride a bike. So,
bike. Yeah, it's
yeah,
really
for
cool now. I
sure.
can do, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I also had to learn like my Hindi because my Hindi was like very below par. I mean, I still have a long way to go, but yeah, I mean, these are all life skills, especially boxing, like I can now, I mean, I'm kind of like stuck with it and I don't want to let it go. But yeah, I mean, I'm really grateful to have been given this opportunity.